Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda for routine administrative matter and/or pressing matters that will require ratification at a future meeting?
I have one item, Mr. Chairman, but it doesn't require ratification.
Yes, sir.
That is, we had a distinguished member of our community who's been in service to the town and village, Robert DeRusha, Bob, who passed away the other day. So if we could have a moment of silence for this individual. He served the community many years, served on the board, did a lot with zoning, and a moment of silence would be appropriate for his distinguished service.
Do that now?
Want that now?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay,
Sir.
moment of silence, please. Thank you very much, and rest, please. Anything else? Public comments on items not on the agenda, 3 minutes.
Yes,
Yes, Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I'd like to see something done about Hobo Junction. This is intolerable. People down there fishing, doing drugs, people running around soil pits. We just invest all that money to have that go on, and would you please unmute my camera?
Please do what?
Unmute my camera.
I don't think it's on our end, sir. It might be a button on your end.
Can hear you loud and clear, Jim.
We can hear you, we just can't see you.
Oh, but, no, they just sent you a prompt, so it was on your end. Thank you, God bless you all.
Okay, thank you. I do believe they're doing all they can at this time, Jim, with that situation.
It's not enough, there's a poor animal down there,
Okay.
sweltering in the heat, the tongue's hanging out, that doesn't have water for 'em. That's animal cruelty.
We hear you, thank you.
Thank you, God bless you all.
Anyone else?
You didn't ask to speak to it. Doesn't look like it. His mic's on.
That person asking to say something?
Which person?
Anybody?
It looks like there's only two public.
No hands are up.
Okay.
Okay, moving right along. Item number 1, municipal manager search process discussion. Now, I would just like to remind everyone, wait to speak, be identified to speak, and please allow that person to finish before you would like to speak.
If I may.
Open it up for discussion, yes.
I did a list, what I thought was a complete list, you guys can add more stuff to it, but it's a list of every single thing we need to do to get to that point. And instead of just having a haphazard discussion on a number of items, we need to resolve them all and then agree by vote, I'm assuming, at the end. So could all look at this, if everyone, there's enough copies for everyone, so that we can go through those points, because we only got past determining the budget for expending on advertising, and the advertising started, and we are receiving applicants. But other than that, apparently there's a disagreement about how we're receiving the applicants, and then everything forward has not been agreed to. So we need to agree to all these points, or they'll continue to be fighting about these points. That's all I had to say, just to give us something to guideline to go on.
Deb, do you have that handy that you can email it to me right now?
I should, I'll find out. If I can, I'll take a picture, how about that?
There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Looking at this list, it says boards agree on candidate criteria, and it says yes. I can look at that.
No, that Y is undone.
Okay.
We haven't.
No,
You
I
brought that
understand,
up.
but I think that's basically what we need to agree to tonight, is so we know what we're looking for when we start going through the resumes. We just need to narrow it down. I know Jake has done it with the police department over there, and he's got like 5 criteria he's looking for. I think we should be doing the same. The boards agree on it, as what we're looking for in a manager. I know Debbie, you sent yours in this, Shannon. I
Right.
sent mine, and I think Sue sent hers in. I don't know who else has. I think there was a 4th person, but I can't.
But after that, we never got it back, so all of us could agree, or
Right.
change or alter.
Yeah.
I sent it to you, Susan.
I mean, I have mine with me if anyone
Oh.
wants to listen to them,
So-
but, and in no particular order. I'm looking, my idea would be somebody that has municipal finance experience.
But Peter, reality is, we're receiving incoming applicants, and I understand that someone's not happy with the method of reception.
Yeah.
So we get past that one first, before, because that would be
Oh,
the.
okay, yeah, no,
You know, and then agreeing on the criteria, but I understand, we are doing it, we're receiving it, but I understand that someone's unhappy with how we're receiving them.
Well, I'm not having a problem.
I know. I understood that Susan wasn't happy with how those are being received. You wanted it.
It's not that I'm not happy, it's just that I think we have to clarify because, since things have changed, since we started this process, I need to know how it's being forwarded to us all and whether it was possible to set it up to automatically forward, so it doesn't all rely on you, Deb, which I guess you've been designated, and I think we just need to agree as a board that it's okay for you to be the one forwarding.
I didn't, well, I
instead of-
didn't accept the honorific, I'm just got told as a default. It wound up being me, and I have received one, I can forward to you, that's all I got.
Yeah, and I think it's fine if it's you, it's just that I think as a board, we need to agree, and I think it would just, there has to be a way to set up the system that it's not on your head to have to, you got stuff going on, you probably get a zillion emails a day, that it would be better just to forward it, somehow find a way to automatically forward it to us all.
Wait,
So at the last meeting, we did, on step 3 here,
Mhm.
we did agree on how that was gonna happen.
right, and I did say yes, but Susan believed the interpretation was an automated manner that would not rely upon a designee to forward the emails to anyone, that it would automatically get to all of us.
So like it would touch no human hands in between?
Yeah, something like that, yeah, automated, with like an autoresponder, thanks for your application.
Yeah, They can do it with a computer, it just comes into a central spot and then it automatically forwards
There
it.
is
So the
an
ones
automated
we-
response.
What's that?
There is an automated response.
So,
Okay, but automated response, but you still forward them, or were they automatically going to anyone?
They were automatically going to someone as a double check. We had outlined this entire process. We had outlined a process. You guys made a motion to agree to the entire process except for waiting for the 3 months. And in addition, you wanted to add an ICMA posting.
That's not what the motion says, though.
It
It doesn't say that,
When
it's
you
whoever
watch-
took the minutes.
When you watch it, because we have it, it says you agree to the process I outlined. It was going wonderfully, and we're getting good applicants. But you guys can do whatever you want going forward. And a lot of you have input into how I should do this, which is just complete and utter micromanagement. I have a master's degree in business and an undergrad in accounting. If you think I can't forward resumes, I just am at a loss. I'm at a complete loss.
I would agree that it may have not been typed in the minutes, but you go watch the meeting. From the part where Shannon does the interviews, to the motion passing, all of this has been discussed. Yet here we are,
I know that Wade has.
because certain members individually, yeah, I'm responding to
Yeah,
her statement, and people shaking their heads saying that didn't happen. That did happen.
It didn't.
It did happen. It's on TV. You can watch it.
Doesn't matter, the motion
Entire
was made, the
discussion.
motion was money only, and we didn't agree. I would never agree to have an applicant
Well, there'd
be
be
interviewed by its employee.
20 minutes worth of typing if we were gonna type that whole discussion.
Then it was what it was. The
Okay,
reality is, the
well-
motion was only for money. We did not make a motion to agree on the process. That's why I'm back to it. And again, employees shouldn't interview their own boss, potential boss, and And that, if I had heard
Nobody
that, I
said
would.
no when she said it.
Because we didn't agree on it by motion. We agreed on money. That doesn't automatically make it
So
okay.
where did all the other stuff come from if all we agreed on
Was money.
How did we start getting applications? How did Shannon
We
start
agreed to
forwarding?
spend that money on determining the advertising search engines. So we said, yes, you can spend this much money on these
You
items.
didn't answer my question.
Because-
Where did the rest of the process come from? If all we agreed on, all that was typed, was the amount of money? How did it start?
How did it start?
If all we agreed on was.
That we needed to advertise at these places. That cost this much money or it was free.
So how did
we
it
agreed
start?
to that. And that was
Receiving
the motion.
applications, she forwarded them. How did that start?
I don't see that piece. Although that would be automated once we spent the money on the advertising, period. We had input on the process of the ad. We all had input on that. The ad was finished, the ad got put out. The ad started producing in the places that we said.
And then we would have had another meeting?
And we would have a meeting after the 17th of August, which is when all of the applicants would have completed submission, period. That is appropriate, because we did not determine to use VLCT, so we are not taking them in, we are not sorting the chaff from the wheat, we are not responding to them saying, thanks, but you're not a fit, or thanks, and we'll get back to you after the 17th of August. We didn't agree to do any of that. And I don't think I'm the only one here who's saying that.
Well, that's what was discussed.
It was
I mean, you can watch the meeting.
Discussion doesn't mean agreement. We are 9 people of 2 boards. We have to agree on each of these
So
items,
then,
or we will continue
all
to
we
do what we
did was
did.
agree to the financing, the amount of money.
That's it.
So who went and ran the ad and started
We authorized her to
accepting
do that.
applications?
Maybe it should have been in
That
the
wasn't
motion.
in the motion.
And it wasn't in the
But
motion.
it wasn't
Then-
in the motion.
Then to hell with it. Then
You're
take
doing
down the
things-
ads.
You're doing things that aren't in the
If
motion.
you're gonna behave like that, then take down the ads.
Point of order, we're getting out of.
This is ridiculous, for gosh sake.
We're trying to say that the board has to have input in every step beyond receiving applicants.
Okay, Mike, can I have the,
Wade had his hand up.
Yes,
I don't know
go
if he wants to resume.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify, so of the initial applicants that we had received, or that came in, did they come to you and then you forwarded them to us, or were they already on automatic
Yes.
pilot to come right to us?
No, so I set up a inbox that was just dedicated to this manager search. And then as I was reviewing them, I was sending them to all of you in real time. And I was also, first of all, anything that we have is public record, so it doesn't get deleted. But Sue was extremely worried that I wouldn't send them all, so I was having them forwarded to her immediately, just through a function of Outlook. But it would only send it to one email address. Could I have dove into this and spent time on with Dominion Tech? Yes, I'm buried. I didn't see it necessary. We only had the ads up for 4 weeks. I was sending them all in real time, even over the weekend. I was logging in 3 times a day and just shooting them off and reviewing them.
So the bottom line though is, to answer the question, you were sending them to us after you got them. They weren't automatically forwarded to us.
No, they were being automatically forwarded to Sue, and then I was forwarding them to the boards.
and the deadline for receiving applicants is the 17th,
Of
right?
August.
And the one thing that you mentioned, Deb, that I was sensitive to is I certainly agree with you. I don't think it's appropriate that an employee should be interviewing candidates. I think that that's something the boards want to do. If that was in the original proposal, which I thought we had voted on, I certainly didn't understand that and would never have approved it if I was aware of that. So,
Way back when we first started talking about doing this in-house, Shannon brought that up.
well, I missed it.
Way back in the very beginning.
I missed it, Gaetano, but
Several
it doesn't
times.
change, it doesn't change the
Okay,
fact that
I
I
hear
think
you.
that's inappropriate.
I'm just pointing out that it was in the very
And
beginning.
I'm not saying she didn't, I apologize
It's
for
okay.
missing it.
Right? Understood.
But I certainly agree with Deb on that.
Which leads us to here. So
Right.
let's just try to,
Gaetano, can I just come in here for a second?
yeah.
It's not that I don't think Shannon can forward emails. I trust that she can. I was just trying to find a way to avoid to add this to her long list of things that she has to do by making it automatic, that's it. It's not that I don't trust her or that she can't forward an email, she's got a zillion things on her plate that this should be, I just thought it would be easier if it was automatically sent through some type of rule that you could set up in Outlook to send it to our group.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, she said she never did it because it would have taken a lot of time. It seems like there was a lot of time invested in that discussion, whereas first thing in the morning, Shannon forwarded 4 to 7 emails. So you didn't like that process, so as Shannon...
It's not, I just think it's asking a lot for Deb, that's all. I mean, it's just, in this day's technology, I thought it would be easier to set up an automatic
I had to
forward. Clearly, that seems to be a difficulty,
No,
so
I had to go in and.
now the question is, what is happening? Is it still on Shannon's plate, or is it going to be automatically sent to Deb? I'm just looking for clarification. Automatically sent to Deb, and then Deb will pass it on, and now it's on her plate.
I don't know where, I received a single email for one applicant since the end of last week, and I don't know how I got it. All I know is I have it, I'm gonna forward it,
So,
I'm afraid it didn't get done this morning.
I set it up so that you receive them automatically. Did you forward it to the rest of the board members?
I only got one, and I haven't forwarded it, and I will do so today. I got it today, I'll forward it today, and everybody will have it. I didn't know that was happening, nobody told me.
I sent you an email.
Oh, did you?
I asked you if you wanted to be the one to do it.
I probably said if no one else wants to do that, that's fine, but I didn't know that would start, and again, it's not exactly the best method, but that's what we're doing, so.
Are you okay to handle that task?
Yes, I can handle that.
Is everyone okay with Deb doing it in that manner? Does anyone object to that manner?
Nope, as long as you're getting out there, it's all that matters.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Would it be better to have them come to both of you?
I get it.
can't do that.
I am not concerned
What's
that
that?
we're gonna miss an application.
The just original Outlook thing only allows you to put in one email address. If you guys want to go dig around in it, I'm happy to give one person the username and password to the account. But I'm like just done with this.
Unless my board wants me to be involved, I am perfectly confident with, I just asked Deb if she could handle it. She said yes. I asked the boards if they're okay with that process. I'm okay with that process.
I'm okay with it.
We'll get the applications like we were doing.
And
so
I'll
we
just
can
forward
check
them all,
them.
if it's just for one set up group, and send it all to everybody, so, I will do that.
I mean, I think
So are we making motions on all these things?
What I would think would be best is that we agree on all these things, and then we make one motion for all of it, so
That's a good thought.
do all the steps, agree to all the steps, and then make a motion.
No, Deb, I appreciate you stepping up to the plate, taking the time to put this together. We have something
I
to look
appreciate
at.
Shannon saying it, I just didn't know that was,
No, I'm
I
just
wasn't
saying.
positive that was the case, I'm not saying you
So
should
what's
say.
next?
On number 3, we agree on.
Oh, now, right, so there we are, so now we're on 4, which was what Peter brought up about the candidate criteria. That we didn't all agree on the criteria, we never sat down and looked at the criteria together.
No, we were all asked to send them in to Shannon.
So-
And Shannon got some of them.
That was also in my process, and whoever wanted to sent it in to me. I combined it all, and and this was stated when I gave you the process that you guys accepted, that I would then send it to Deb and Gaetano to save time instead of coming to another meeting, and if they approved of both of the description and the ad, I would post them, and that's what happened. I took input from everybody, and we have ads and descriptions out.
So have you seen that description, Peter, since then?
Well, I don't have a problem with the ad the way it went out. I mean,
No.
I know we talked about the
The
ad.
criteria, the job description,
I haven't seen anything.
It's on the
Nothing came to
website.
me.
it's on the
Just
website.
something sent to you guys.
I haven't seen it either.
It's
But-
posted on the website.
So would that be not needed until the 17th? When
Yeah,
we
we don't
receive
have
every
to.
application, then we go through and by then we
Right.
can agree on the criteria to move them in this pile or this pile.
So does everybody
Right.
understand? Go to the website, look at the
Yeah,
criteria.
You set the
I have a
criteria
question.
first, like Jigs did over the police department.
Right,
You
yeah.
Came up with a list of criteria you're looking for, and then you grade the candidates according to that
Based on
criteria.
But here's
What I
the,
just said.
Yeah,
well, here's the thing,
Isn't backwards, but anyway.
the criteria the criteria is, that I have for the police chief search is what each of the committee members will use to score the person. Okay,
Right.
it's not that they've got a bachelor's degree or that they from whatever.
No.
I've got the list here. I'll give Shannon a copy of it, but it's.
I
you know,
don't need it.
Briefer.
huh?
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't need it. The leadership characteristics, experience, fit with Bellows Falls, personal demeanor, community orientation, and vision. I mean, those are, there's a half a dozen criteria that we will score all of our candidates, or our finalists anyway, on that basis. And, but it sort of comes, this comes, it's good to have these in mind
Yeah,
when you're formulating your
course.
questions, you know.
right.
But anyway, who's going to collect them? Does it fall to you, Deb?
What, collect what?
The criteria? 'Cause
Well, it's on the website right now, and we should all go look at it and agree with it, or bring it to the table before we start picking candidates that
Okay.
we need, if we still think we need alterations. That's
Okay.
what's left. And we can do that at a next meeting, when we call
Yeah,
the joint
I
one,
see.
after the 17th, I guess.
I think that's, we should agree on what we're looking for.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then,
So we do that after the 17th.
Well, we can do it between now and the 17th, and then when we get to the 17th meeting, we should have it in mind or whatever.
Do it together, yeah, and then do it together.
And then you can grade your candidate by what, there's some of them that we've seen already that don't even come close to anything that we're looking for. So those may be an automatic rejection or whatever you want to call it, but I mean, to me, I think we need to, both boards need to agree on what we're looking for, otherwise in 2 years, when you're right back here doing that all over again. So, I'm all done.
Number 5 should be a no-brainer. Boards agree to assessing viable candidates together, which means we're going through the criteria and marking them, grading them that way. Respond to all candidates with a yay or nay.
Yep.
Yep.
So someone will need to be designated to do that. Have some already been done? I don't know. And-
When's the timeline for the?
As soon as I would say, as soon as we get them all.
As
So
soon as we
same
get
thing, all
them,
this stuff
as soon as
happens
we
after
get
the
the ones
17th.
that-
After the
Yeah.
17th.
Mhm.
Who, excuse me, can I ask a question here? Who's gonna do the background checks? Are you gonna?
Well, that's another, well,
That's
wait a
the next
minute. So we need to have, so who's going to respond? Let's stay with 6 before we get to 7. Who's going to respond to them? Somebody has to respond to them with a yay or nay, and that's to come after the 17th, when the board has made their determination, and then that person, if it's me or somebody else,
Well,
is
what,
designated to do that.
why can't we have a meeting right after the 17th?
Mhm.
We'll establish the rest of this list tonight, have a meeting after.
Yep.
Where we could perhaps go in a session and have the discussion of a yay or nay, so it's not,
Right.
and then we can decide, Deb.
No, that's what'll happen then, yeah, I'm assuming that.
So how about that?
Chuck suggested the
After the
18th,
17th,
I
okay,
think,
so
of
after
August,
application deadline, we discuss,
which
we'll
ones,
be able to
yeah.
filter through a lot of them and then respond,
Right.
right?
Right.
Could I ask a question?
Is that okay with everyone?
That sounds good to me. What I would say though, at that stage, the stage here after we reviewed the initial candidates
Groups, yeah.
and thinned out the list, to do a background check is an
That's-
expensive
yeah.
proposition.
Oh, that's just it, well, I don't know what you're doing,
So, what we did is we basically Googled all these people and looked on different things, social media, and it was interesting to find a lot of scoop on stuff. But it was a board member or committee member process. And if something came out on those social media posts, we discussed it when we were thinning out the candidate. Now, we can, at the end of the process, if we come up with a candidate, that we would do a proper background check. And that's going to cost us a few
Money,
bucks to
yeah.
do it. But to try to do it on 2, 3, 4, 5 candidates, it's too expensive. It's a waste. And so I would encourage everybody to look, once we've sifted the list,
I have been.
Google it.
Yeah, already.
I've already
Been
been
Googling.
doing that with each one.
I'm sure you
I have
have.
a question. Would you consider doing an official background check with the top two? As if one comes back bad and you put all your
Yeah.
eggs in this?
We might, yeah.
I think
I don't-
it's- you're right with the town.
I don't think we can do just one, or we
Top
could be
two. Yeah.
sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
In the other committee I was on a couple of years ago, that happened, and the candidate was no longer considered.
Yep. I could-
Right.
You could very well want to do that.
No?
The,
Okay, great.
So
that- yeah.
before the first, so do we want to do an official background? That's, so Google searching, everybody
The
can do
final
that.
two.
On the final two, but at what point do we do that? Final comments, like
When they
between
become
13 and
the-
14?
When they become the final two.
Well, no, I'm saying, look on the list. 13 and 14, would that be the place we do that? Do like a criminal background, the full shebang?
I think we're gonna have to wait till the 18th and see how big this stack is here, and
Yeah.
how big this one is here.
But I would
So
say.
we only have, let me just finish,
Yes.
Jake. I'd only have a couple here,
Yeah, that's true.
so that would be pretty easy to determine. when-
Establish, if that's all we have left.
Mhm.
I suppose that's true. So well, let's put that off until,
But I think you're right. I think that's about where we.
so official background, when we get down to 2. That's the one that'll cost us some money. And you can tell us how much that was, because you're gonna have to pay for it. Okay. So,
That is also, time, we have to factor in the time for that background check too. So if we do it before we interview them, or maybe we do the first interview and then we do the background check before we have a second interview, just because it will take time.
right. Well, I don't know how many, the last time we did this, I mean, I know the police department did 6, right? So we don't know how many wind up with. Could be 2, could have 5 viable candidates in the pile on the day after the 17th. That point, well, we gotta do a first round of interviews with these people to determine who our final 2 are? Does that make sense?
But I wouldn't do pay for a background.
No,
check
not
on someone I
those,
haven't
no,
talked-
just the interview.
No, on someone I haven't talked to yet.
Right, an initial interview via Zoom, not in face to face, but via
Yeah.
this sort of service. So,
If you do it via Zoom though, is anybody in the public gonna be able to get in on it?
you can close it, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
No, I don't know how Zoom works, I mean.
No, you can close it.
As long as that's, because otherwise everybody that's on.
We
the
did a
public
couple of-
shouldn't be doing
we
it
did a
on the
couple of
public.
the interviews.
Okay, I just asking.
On Zoom.
Okay.
So Peter's saying that we should use the candidate criteria as the list we would use to develop questions for the candidates.
Why do we want to have, why would we put up a list of questions when everybody may have a different question for each candidate?
Well, I don't know how the process
I-
of questioning
I
will
get the
go.
fact that you're trying to treat everybody equally and
Yeah,
asking the same thing.
That's the reason.
Let him finish. One person, please.
But to me, it would make more sense, I mean, if we set up a list of questions and somebody thinks that's an irrelevant question to be asking, and depending on what the person is sitting in front of you, you may want to ask them an entirely different question off the top
Off the
of your head.
bat, yeah. When we worked with VLCT, there was a list.
Jake said those
So-
things.
Just a comment.
What's good about having a list is, for the first interview, is the equity thing. You get to hear each candidate respond to those questions. And if the questions come from the members of the boards, then they're entitled to listen to the answer to that question. I think that doesn't preclude a follow-up question, though.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
that's what, yeah.
Right, no,
Yeah, okay,
so
well,
you
yeah,
can always have a
you know,
follow-up
I mean,
question.
if somebody said something, you say, wait a minute, what do you mean by that, or can you give us some
Oh,
follow-up?
yeah, absolutely,
Then I
absolutely.
think that needs to be an option.
Yeah, and then on the second interview, clearly, where in areas you want to dig down,
Yeah.
it might not be applicable
Right,
to the finalists.
yeah,
you
okay,
know?
no, it's
So,
just trying to get the process.
so it's a trickier thing on the second round.
You keep comparing this to the police.
I'm not comparing it to the police, sir.
You've referenced it 5 times, but the difficulty here is we're turning into a committee, which nobody wanted to do. We're trying to form a committee with 2 boards. This is never what we agreed on. ever.
Mhm.
What's so
Hello? Hello, what do
No.
you think it is?
funny? We never agreed to that, ever. We decided not to form a committee and do it in-house.
So this is not a committee, this is two boards who have to agree on a manager.
That would be the final step, not this entire process of two boards.
Well,
We
the
didn't-
difference here is that we get to make the decision.
That's our job at
right?
the end.
We get to make the
We're
decision.
becoming a committee.
We didn't agree to designate one person from each board to do that, though, and that's what you're trying to say.
No,
We would
that-
make those determinations, we're not doing that, so it's all five of us
We-
on both boards.
We put
We didn't,
in-house.
but we didn't
No.
designate her to find those
She
candidates.
could do most of this work and then we get the
Understandable,
top
but that's
five.
not what the board members are agreeing to,
No, we don't want to do that.
and that's the point. It's unfortunate but true, it makes it a tougher decision because you've got more input from more people.
Let's move on here. We can beat this around the board for definitely here.
We may not need to do anything else with the rest, it's just a process, a list of process, and we may have skipped a step, I just don't know. That was all.
So everybody's all right with 8?
Yep, that's what we'll do after.
What is 8? I don't have it in front of me.
Boards
so-
agree on further refining the candidates, in other words,
Right.
get a pile of possibles, and then we narrow that down to 3, 4, whatever, and those will
Yeah.
we concentrate
Right.
on.
Okay.
I assume that's what you're going at.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Okay, number 9 is develop an agreed list of candidate questions.
Again,
We
we
talked
just talked about that, yeah.
Mhm.
Schedule first interviews, we talked about that, we mentioned that about Zoom.
Yep, yeah, using something, go-to meeting, something other than face-to-face for the first interview.
And then the boards agree on.
So that's an executive session, special
That would be,
meeting
yes, it would be, yeah.
for each candidate?
Or we group them together, so we have like, what, 45 minutes per, or something like that, whatever we see is agreeable.
First round, second round,
Mhm.
final?
Yep,
Yeah. So 11 here, I'm a little,
boards agree on additional refinement, oh,
so why would we want to do another?
which meant if we
one?
decide to throw some people out of the, say we pick 4 people,
Yeah.
we decide one of them sucks, so we've got 3. And we say, yes, we agree not to include that person anymore. That's what I'm saying, if we want to remove them from a list, refining this, we can skip that step if we don't
No,
need
I
to.
I'm just raising the question.
Just want to make sure we agree that that person doesn't belong in the grouping any longer, that's.
Okay, well, we'll leave it on there, and if we need to bypass it.
Oh, and or if they drop out, which can
Well,
happen.
yeah, that's
Hmm,
right.
could happen.
Yeah.
And then the second round of interviews scheduled, would that be by Zoom, or you want that in person?
Whatever we think is appropriate. I mean, depends on.
Certainly if somebody can be in
Yeah, if they
person.
live in another state.
Yeah, it would be nice to, yeah, I know, that way you don't have to pay transportation expenses.
Exactly. Mhm.
Boards agree on the final candidate, so that's pretty.
And then
Final
the-
candidates, invite final candidates to meet department heads and boards.
How are you gonna do that?
that'd be in person.
Who's gonna do that? The board's gonna walk around with the person?
What
Well,
we,
we
you
can
know,
designate
you know we did the
somebody.
last time. 2 people, Susan and I walked around with the candidates to each department head, basically spent the half of a day with them. So they could meet all the
Yeah.
department heads, discuss with them, had lunch with them, try to become more familiar with their style, to make a
Okay,
better
so let's put that
determination.
in there so that
Yep.
we don't, nobody,
Okay,
no
so
one comes back and
okay, so that's
says
fine.
there's a problem.
Okay,
And then
So
so,
each board would designate a person?
yeah, board
Yeah.
designates a
Okay.
person to do that. So I'll just make an add additional.
And the boards agree on the contract terms, that's no brainer.
Well, yes and no, because we want to make sure if there's any opportunity to have a cut clause, we need one. And that's come up so many times.
Well, like we did with the last one, we agreed to a 1-year contract that's renewable, if things were copacetic, and they're not, then we have the option to bail
Yeah.
out, which we did. As long as you notifying within the period, it was in the contract, and we did that,
Yep.
so.
Well, I mean, we should all see the contract. We had a sample contract, I remember that. We had a sample contract, which I'm assuming was the last contract from the last manager,
Yeah.
that we reviewed, and we thought if there was things we wanted to change, and then it went to the attorney, to make sure we
Yeah.
were good at what we decided to say. And then we agreed that
But,
this
you
is
know,
good.
In order to save some time, we could probably get that, look at the current contract, and if we don't have any big issues with that, get it. And that's already been reviewed by the attorney, we know that's one step we can save.
That's
in
true,
time
also
on.
save some money, yeah, as well. And then making an offer, that's the next thing.
Now, what about, where's the background check?
It was back up there.
Back up.
Looks like we're
on
gonna
number
have to, yeah, but we'll probably do the official background check somewhere between 13 and 14, I would
Okay,
think.
all right, yeah.
So we'll have to do that.
Mhm.
7. And then 17 is the bailout clause, basically.
Yeah, if the offer is refused, boards agree to amend the offer or contact the second candidate, whatever we choose at that point. So, yep, that was it. Is everybody good?
Madam President,
1 second, Mr. Mitchell, I'd like, would you ask if everybody was agrees with all of this and we're good to go? We need to move
Yeah,
on.
do you want a motion?
Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
suggest you make a motion.
Okay,
Get
I'll
it
make a
ready.
motion to accept that procedure.
need a second for that.
I'll
on the
second
trustee
that.
side. We have to do both sides, so, okay, and Wade seconds.
Will you just send that to me for the minutes?
Oh, sure. Yep,
So who made the motion?
Jiggs made the motion,
Wait a second,
Wade seconded it.
for the trustee side.
Yeah, and I'll send you a copy of this and everything, so on this side, any further discussion, Stefan?
No, I'll make the motion that we.
Oh, wait, we just did one on the trustee side,
Right,
I'm asking if you had
okay.
any other comment before we, okay. So all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good to go, and now it's time for your side to make a motion.
Madam President,
Yeah.
Hold on, Mr. Mitchell.
Hold on, Mr. Mitchell.
I'll make the motion that the Board of Selectmen accept the criteria as presented here tonight for the manager selection search.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept manager search criteria as written and discussed here tonight. All those in favor signify.
Isn't it the search process, not criteria?
Yeah, search, yeah,
Process, whatever.
yeah,
Verbiage, language.
Yeah.
process, all right.
And just to clarify, because I kind of missed some, the full boards will be doing the interviewing?
That's the way it's set up right now,
Yep,
Okay,
unless we have
Just
another
to
meeting to
clarify.
change it, yeah.
Yep. okay.
and that's not going to change. We'll call a vote.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
All right, I'll make the changes on here, I'll send you the names and everything. Just-
Great.
I voted
Change.
no.
And you voted no? Okay, that was a nay, all right,
Correct.
okay,
Don't approve of this.
okay. All right, so do we have any reason
Do you
to
want
do
to
the
call?
second? Oh, yes,
Oh,
now,
yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Mitchell
Mitchell.
wanted to say something.
Mr. Mitchell,
yes, I would hope after the last, well, we're now going on 37 minutes discussing manager search, that you do due diligence, because the last time we hired, you need to interview the past people that this person worked for. I don't need to remind you that we hired a drunk for town manager. Had you bothered to release that information, we would have found out that they forced him out in Ashland. You know, and I have not forgotten that. He arrived drunk and he left drunk. And he was very antagonistic towards women. We don't need that anymore. So for all the searching you do, the last two candidates, you get their name, you contact the people that they work for or the other towns that they work for, and you find out what their character is. We don't need more drunk or people's pet managers shoved in here. We need a qualified manager. Thank you.
and 4. Thank you.
We done with item 1?
Say so. Item 2.
Do we need it?
Any other questions? Sure, we do.
We
I
do need
move,
executive session, okay.
I move to find the premature general public knowledge of the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public official or employee will clearly place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage.
Oh, you have to have a reason. Because it's about employment.
They put it on the agenda. didn't they?
Yeah, so, the substantial disadvantage by,
It says appointment or employment
yeah, it does, it's already in there.
evaluation.
I
Yeah.
believe he's covered it.
Yep.
We just did it as an
did.
executive session, and I'll second the motion.
Okay, on the village side, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. I move that the board enter executive session to discuss labor relations agreements with employees under provision of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes.
Okay, on the village side, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. I move that the board enter executive session to discuss labor relations agreements with employees under provision of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes.
Need a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, trustees are ready for executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I move to find that premature general public knowledge of appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer employee will clearly place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage by revealing our strategic strategy.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded, enter executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, I move that the board enter executive session to discuss labor relations agreements with employees under provisions of Title I, Section 313, parentheses A, parentheses 1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Labor relations executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We're now in executive session. Thank you.
What we didn't do was other business. Any other business? Wade? Jake?
Well, the other business that I have,
Uh-oh.
okay, and I wish I wish it was going, but,
It's going right.
I, for one, as a resident of Rockingham, Bellows Falls, was very disappointed when I got my tax bill after what I think the excellent work that the select board did in their work, budget work, and the village trustees did on their budget work. The homestead tax rate for our education went up 10%.
Yep.
Now, granted, we're in a pandemic. Our kids haven't had proper schooling since March 17th of this year. The prospects for the coming year are not looking dim. I would ask that the superintendent of schools or somebody that can explain to the residents of Rockingham why the education tax bill went up so much.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's more than 50%.
All I'm looking for is an explanation.
Yep.
And we should demand it. Our board should demand it.
You should, because I mean, the buses aren't driving. I don't think we're running air conditioning up there, or heat we were earlier.
Backup stuff in the buses are running.
In fact, let me make
Yeah.
a motion on behalf of the trustees. Can I make a motion? Or is this?
It's,
We'd have to
we
ratify
have to
it
ratify it next meeting. You want to
Okay.
do it next meeting?
I'll do it at the next meeting.
Okay,
Put that on the agenda.
hold that, yeah, education time. Okay,
I would encourage the
But it-
select board to do the same thing.
But you're right, it's 2/3 your tax bill.
no, it's horrible.
Yeah, the school tax is 2/3 your tax bill.
I gotta believe
I
it.
mean, here we are trying to cut our budget down and everything, and.
Yeah, and they're doing nothing. Yeah, to do
But
that.
unfortunately, it's passed by the people, so, and that's
Well, but
really
it's,
valid, so.
it's a lot of, it's a function of what the state does
Right.
and
Right.
local
Yeah, I
spending.
know.
Okay, so
It's a
that's why you
combination, yeah.
need somebody like the superintendent to explain
No,
it.
you're right, I agree with you 100%.
I mean, when we were homeschooling a lot of kids, right? Well, they were for a prolonged period, so we're gonna continue to pay these teachers' salaries like they are
Oh,
too?
yeah.
Yeah, they're on contract.
I know they're on contract, but I think there was
I'm
one
asking
state in the union that challenged that.
I'm gonna ask them.
Might have been
I'm going to.
Virginia or somewhere down there.
Okay, I move to adjourn.
Oh, wait,
Wait.
so
Other
finish the other
business?
business, other business, I have an SU meeting tomorrow night, I'm gonna be asking that question to the superintendent.
Excellent, thank you.
Does someone just want to summarize the motion you made? Because I
Oh,
wasn't
oh,
able
I
to
have
get it.
nothing.
Just,
I have nothing.
Wait.
I'm done.
Wasn't a motion. Which motion?
No, the
When you
motion
guys-
for the select board to have Gaetano Pugliano, their chair, be the contact person for the manager search candidates.
okay.
And that passed, and then on my side, it was for me to do the same. Does that make sense?
We got
So
it.
the point
We got
persons.
it. They got it. We
Yeah,
got it.
that's it. Okay, so now we're on
Move to
to,
adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
okay, wait, who's moving to adjourn, anybody?
Me.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Not here.
Aye, and the time
Well,
is
unfortunately.
6:10, and in a few minutes, we'll start another meeting, we'll start another meeting.